And we are live with another episode of BS Busters. This one's going to be a short one. I moved the time back a little bit because Google was acting weird. I think that was just issue with my PC or maybe my internet, because turns out my internet, my ISP, has been throttling my bandwidth. So I had a nice little chat with them. So next week's BS Busters will be back at its usual time of 6 to 7:30 instead of 8:30 to 10. This will not be to 10 because it's not. Hopefully, it won't be that long. But before we get any further, I'm going to let the other members of the cast introduce themselves, starting with the person who hasn't been here in a long time. The nameless avatar. I mean the faceless avatar. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, I am back from who knows how long, but this is Dragon Swords 15. I have not made a video for a pretty while. I actually planned on making a couple of those, but, well, life happens, and I think I'll be able to at least get back on track this summer.
Okay, cool. And next we're joined by Bowser's bratty son. Go ahead, sir.
I am everyone's favorite little bastard, the contrarian bastard, here to talk about games. I'm kind of tired, so I'm not going to do my usual intro today.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. So basically, today's cast, this installment of BS Busters, is basically about old, dead, tired, or ill-used franchises. Now, these are like franchises that haven't had an installment in a while, and we'd like to see it come back. The best example of this in practice is Bomberman R. Like, we haven't had a Bomberman game in a long time. The other one we had most recently before Bomberman R was Bomberman Zero, and people hated that game. But then they brought it back around with Bomberman R, which is a perfectly serviceable Bomberman game. Nothing more, nothing less. So I asked everyone who came here to think of 3 franchises that fit into the old, dead, tired, or ill-used category. And basically, we're going to name one and then pass it along, and how it could be brought back. Just some general ideas, pass it along, let someone else bring up what they think could happen, etc., until we get through all 3. And then we might cover some news of the week and wrap things up. So who wants to go first?
Well, I think I go after you guys because I'm thinking.
All right. Okay, I guess I'll go first. This is a franchise we haven't seen in a while. I know they recently released a mobile game, but that doesn't count. So this is a game that's near and dear to my heart. I love it. I love all 4 installments of it. The 5th one does not exist. I'm talking about Breath of Fire. And I know what some people are going to say. Why are you talking about Breath of Fire? Well, I love Breath of Fire. I think it could really be brought back into being an awesome franchise. And I want to see it brought back. I want to see it become a thing again. And I think the best way they could do it is by turning Breath of Fire into, well, just doing another RPG with Breath of Fire in it. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. And I think they should put it on the PS4, the Xbox One, and PC. Would Breath of Fire come to a Nintendo system? I don't know. I would love for it to happen, but it probably won't. So I'm not going to say the Switch, but I would really love to play another Breath of Fire, like really, really badly. So with that being said, who wants to go next?
Well, now it's my turn. I'm going to vote for this one, Darkstalkers. Like, I haven't seen or heard of that series since the early PS1 days, and Capcom even said they were going to brought it back, but they canceled the project.
No, they put that game out. It bombed.
I know, but it would be cool. Like, it's not because a game bombs doesn't mean like they cannot do another one. Look at Kid Icarus Uprising.
Yeah, but Kid Icarus hadn't been in existence for a very long time. Like you hadn't seen a Kid Icarus in like.
Yeah, but the Myth and Monsters bombed the fuck out. Like that game bombed really, really
Did it?
bad.
I don't.
And
I don't think it did. Here, let me check. Kid Icarus, Myth and Monsters.
I could be wrong. I think like
I
because
think certain people. I mean, I'm just looking to see if it bombed. Because I mean, it could have bombed because you hadn't seen it for a while, so that's why I was like,
and also I like the character designs of Darkstalkers. Like, come on, a fucking metalhead zombie with lighting powers. That has to be some amazing, one of the most amazing characters I see. I love Raptor. I love Jetta too. He's like some sort of demonic messiah that uses the blood to attack his victims. It's like Darkstalkers, like he had the characters, he had the awesome lore, he just didn't have the sales. Well, the same happened with Rival Schools. Like Rival Schools was also a good fighting franchise and practically
well,
existent at that point.
no one will tell us the sales figures for Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters. It probably sold less than the original Kid Icarus, but I mean, the way Nintendo budgets their stuff, they probably made their money back on it. But that's probably why they were like hesitant to make another Kid Icarus for so long.
Yeah, it took them like how many generations to make?
A whole damn lot. That's
It was the GD. The last one was on the Game Boy, and the Mission Monster, and now the most recent one is on the 3DS. So these like five console generations it took. But
um.
at least it came. At least imagine. Actually, has there been a franchise that hasn't done installments since the SNES or NES days?
Well, I mean, my second one was going to be one that we haven't seen since the Game Boy. Since the game. Well, we haven't seen a new installment since the Game Boy Advance.
Well, well, at least the Game Boy Advance is well, not that recent, but it's not that old yet. So
Well, I mean, it was Nintendo's 32-bit handheld, so.
but anyway, Darkstalkers is my pick. I don't have anything more to say about it. So that was Dragon's turn.
Okay, Dragon, your turn.
First one goes for a Pokemon game that we haven't seen this one in like a while, and I don't know why. I guess the game series didn't sell well, and that's the Pokemon. What is it? How do I the Shadow Pokemon games? If you know what I mean.
You mean
Oh,
Coliseum and
Yeah,
Arena, or not
yeah.
Coliseum and?
yeah, but I actually had the reason why the 3D Pokemon games are like put into hiatus and probably are not coming back because Battle Revolution bombed like really
Yeah.
badly. And even the Shadow Pokemon games like didn't sell that much because most people just wanted a stadium like game and they were interested in the story aspect of it.
Well, the sad thing is the reason I think that it didn't sell is just because
And especially during like that time where like during the first years of Gen 3, like it was when the 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 Pokemania fever died off, and like the sales kind of went down a lot. It was kind of a tumultuous time, so I kind of understand why Game Freak wouldn't want to like.
Well,
It wasn't Game Freak. It was a Genius
yeah,
scenario.
it was Genius Sonority. Yeah, I think that people just, I think at the time no one has figured out how to make a Pokemon game that works well on a home console. And I'm not sure why. Because like I think it's because they haven't found a way to differentiate it from the handheld version without stepping on the handheld version's toes. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. I would like to see another one because it was an interesting premise.
I mean, I would like to see maybe a better, because I actually remember. Well, I don't know, but like well, someone close to me actually played, and that person was pretty annoyed at like just that person kept on failing at like catching the shadow Pokemon, so it kind of got annoying there, and to kind of just start over from like one area that's like, I don't know, 3 floors up.
Yeah.
So if the checkpoints were better,
yeah,
then that's what I would have like request. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I could totally see that. But I mean, I have to agree. I did love those games. I mean, I bought them. I know a lot of people were like, oh, I didn't like. I think what people wanted from those games was, I think in their head, I think they wanted a console Pokemon game. But that would totally, like, if they made a console Pokemon game where you could catch all the Pokemon, then why would you buy their handheld games? They would kill their own golden goose.
I wonder if it Yugon actually.
I mean, that would be cool though. If you had a console Pokemon game where you could catch any Pokemon from like maybe they had from like gens 1 to 5, right? Or maybe gens 1 to 4. Like, and you catch anyone, create your own team, fight trainers who had like mixed teams, double battles, triple battles, turntable battles. That would be awesome.
If they made a console main series Pokemon game, would it actually? I mean, I guess it really depends on like what kind of game, like taking advantage of the consoles. Well,
Specs.
Yeah, console specs. Would it actually take like more time than they would normally?
I don't think it's so much like the development costs. I mean that might be a part of it, but I think it's pretty much about technical design. Like, there's just certain things you can do with a handheld Pokemon that you can't do with a console version of Pokemon. Although with the Switch being the way it is, they might be able to work that out. But the thing is like, for me, I wouldn't want to play like, okay, I wouldn't want them to take the formula of a handheld Pokemon and put it on a console, because kind of like what you said. I mean, if it's on a console, I mean, it needs to be different. It can't be, well, we're charging you $60 for shit that you were paying $39.99 for, on your 3DS or 2D or new 2D, whatever game. I mean, that would be kind of a, it's just with slightly prettier graphics. So, I mean, it starts out, don't go into that grass, pick one of these 3 Pokemon to fight that wild Pokemon. I mean, it just, no. I think they would have to do something drastically different. And I think Genius Sonority tried really hard with Gale of Darkness and Coliseum. I think they tried really hard. But for some reason, people just, plus Gale of Darkness and Gale of Darkness and that other one came out on the GameCube, which was a very, 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 I think it was like one of the lowest selling Nintendo consoles before the Wii. So, I mean, not the Wii, the Wii U. So, I mean, Pokemon couldn't even help the GameCube. But I would like to see another one using the hardware. So I guess we got number 1 down. Who wants to go for number 2? Who wants to go first? I went first last time. Who wants to go first this time?
Oh.
Yeah, Contrarian, you want to go first? Okay. Dragon,
I guess I'll go. Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played the latest installment for Soul Calibur. I only played like the 3rd one that was on the PS2.
All right.
So, and I heard, I guess the later installment was worse. Which was it?
Yeah, Soul Calibur kind of started going downhill after 3.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Contrarian.
Oh, thank God!
But Dragon is going, so.
No, it's just I was going to say something, but now it's too late to say it anyway. So continue on.
So Dragon, you were talking about Soul Calibur?
Yeah, I actually had fun playing the funny game, even though I didn't. I don't know if there was I mean, I guess it was a. I don't know if it was like a sort of story, but it didn't unlock all the characters, so I didn't really I guess know how to unlock all the characters. And this is when I actually played someone else's copy of it in a PS2 and someone else's PS2. So,
all right. For me personally, I have to agree with you, man. I really did like Soul Calibur. I think Soul Calibur, as a matter of fact, Soul Calibur was one of my choices for games that really needs to be brought back in a big way. And the way that I really think that it could really be brought back is if Namco Bandai put the type of care and attention into a new Soul Calibur that they put into Pokken Tournament.
Oh, yes.
Because Pokken Tournament has a single player, it has online multiplayer, you unlock new characters, free DLC, hidden characters, all that type of stuff. I really think that if they put that type of care and attention into a Soul Calibur game now, they could pull it off. And I would love for them to go back to what they did back during the GameCube era where they had console specific special characters. So maybe on the Xbox One you could have I don't know who the hell.
Master Chief?
Master Chief really wouldn't work in a Soul Calibur game. You need someone who looks like they fit in a world where people are using swords. And Master Chief would just pull out a gun. It would totally break the
They had Vader. They have Vader and
They had Bane in Soul Calibur too. Not Bane.
Spawn.
No, they had
Spawn. They had Spawn
I mean, as a guest character, Darth Vader was on Soul Calibur. Vader's really unfitting, for a Soul Calibur game.
Kind of, but I mean, most of the time he's using his lightsaber, which is a sword. It's a high tech sword, but at the end of the day, it's a sword. So
actually, they never explain how the fuck you can guard against Vader's attack. Where in the Star Wars universe, if a lightsaber just touches you, the limb that it touches is gone.
Well, I mean, there are weapons in the Star Wars universe that aren't lightsabers that can counter lightsabers. They're called vibroblades. Because basically, a lightsaber is basically the next technological step up from a vibroblade. A vibroblade is a weapon that vibrates at a certain frequency that makes it so that it can slice through stuff. And if someone has a vibroblade, they can actually joust with someone using a lightsaber. Or if you have a Ichani foil, which it's not a lightsaber, but it uses the same principles of vibroblade that they can use it to duel with a lightsaber duelist. But anyway, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I mean, it still kind of makes more sense for someone using some type of sword type weapon to be in the Soul Calibur universe and fighting in the Soul Calibur universe than if they had Master Chief who would literally he just pull out a gun. It would be anticlimactic as all hell. But yeah, I'd like to see them do another one. It would be awesome to do another Soul Calibur game with console specific characters. I think Xbox could maybe get away with Jago from Killer Instinct. I mean, he's a ninja, but he also has a sword. He has that katana thing. And Sony could have Kratos because he's got weapons. And Nintendo can't have Link again because Link was in Soul Calibur 2. So I don't know who to put in there again. Maybe how about Crom from Fire Emblem? Maybe Ike. Maybe Roy. How about Marth? How about Lucina?
Actually, I think Marv will be a perfect candidate for a Soul Calibur guest character.
Yeah, I mean console-specific guest characters, or if they want to make it further, you could have 3 console-specific guest characters from each of the things. You could have for Microsoft, you could have Jago, maybe Rash or Zitz from Battletoads, and maybe some other Xbox character. Like, it's really hard because maybe, okay, if not the Master Chief, you could have the Arbiter from Halo, because the Arbiter is known for using that energy sword, and that's a melee weapon. Like maybe the Arbiter would be a nice fit. I don't know. And maybe like from Sony, you could have Kratos. I can't think of anyone else. Like it's like I'm trying to find a character who uses just like, I know last time they used Heihachi in the PS2 version, but that makes no sense whatsoever because he's just using his fist.
Most modern Sony characters are so bland. Like, it's going to be hard. Like, pick a character fitting. You can say Cole can be in there, but
yeah. What were you gonna say, Dragon?
I was about to say the main protagonist from Gravity Rush could kind of work.
From what?
Gravity Rush.
Oh yeah, she could kind of work, but I mean, I guess she could kind of work if they gave her a melee weapon. Like, because I mean, at the end of the day, like Soul Calibur is about people with like melee weapons. So, like, I'm trying to pick. It's because, like, okay, Nintendo has a lot of characters that use some type of melee weapon. So it's like really easy for me to choose characters, and even Xbox has some characters that use melee weapons. But like Sony, aside from Kratos, okay, they could have the kid from Ape Escape. He used a net and a stun baton. I know that would be kind of silly, but I mean, hell, I mean, look, I'm trying to come up with 3 characters.
I think Kratos for God of War could fit perfectly.
Oh, they could have Jack from Jack and Daxter.
And Ratchet, maybe.
Yeah, you can have Ratchet. No, you can have Ratchet with his Omni Wrench. That's a melee weapon. I mean, it's not a bladed melee weapon, but he can. I mean, hell, you hit someone in the head with a wrench. that's a pretty decent.
It's just that I'm so accustomed to using weapons in Ratchet and Clank, I forgot he has the Omni Wrench.
Yeah, he has the Omni Wrench. So you could have, like, maybe his special attack, like, because they added supers in Soul Calibur. It's so stupid. Maybe his super could be he uses the disco ball of death and makes you.
Oh, the Groovinator.
Yeah. Or you could get Mr. Destructo, the robot who talks mad shit before you kill you.
Mr. Zircon.
Yeah, Mr. Zircon. Mr. Zircon is not moved by your pleas of mercy. Mr. Zircon.
I love that robot's quote, especially one that said, "Can have Mr. Zircon. Mr. Zircon is an equal opportunity thinker. I hate everyone."
Mr. Zircon is not moved by your pleas of mercy.
I remember the quote. Okay, Mr. Zircon does not discriminate. Mr. Zircon hate all life forms equally.
Mr. Zircon is not moved by your pleas of mercy. That was like the first weapon I upgraded. Not because it's really powerful, it isn't, but just hearing the mad shit Zircon talks while he kills stuff is just hilarious. Like he's killing enemies. Mr. Zircon is not moved by your pleas of mercy. It's like, what the
When you pick money, he said Mr. Zircon does not need bold. His currency is pain.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Like Mr. Zircon. As a matter of fact, you wanna bring back Ratchet and Clank? Just make a game just about Mr. Zircon. just have him talk mad shit, killing people. You know. Oh my God! Please stop. Mr. Zircon will not stop. Could you save us, Mr. Zircon? Does this mean Mr. Zircon gets to kill more creatures? Yes, Mr. Zircon is in.
I remember a quote that he said killing painlessly is for the weak. Mr. Zircon lives to punish his foes.
Yeah, Mr. Zircon, one of the best characters who totally just like they need to bring his ass back.
I never understood why you got him as a weapon, because he first debuted as a robot, like normal enemies made by Dr. Nefarious.
Well, that may be true, but you in the first game you got him as like a sub weapon, and the Mr. Zircon summoner thing, and basically Mr. Zircon would just like even if you fully upgraded him, he wasn't that powerful, but he talked so much mad shit you didn't care. You were like, I just like using this guy. He's such an asshole.
Actually, if you fully upgrade him, like he can assist you a lot in killing enemies faster. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, like, okay, I'm not saying he's not powerful. I'm just saying that overall, like he's like, okay, if you're getting rushed by weak enemies, Mr. Zircon's awesome. But against some of the more powerful enemies in the game who are like shielded or hit really hard, he's like the useful thing about him is that he just talks mad shit and he's funny. He's like, Mr. Zircon is not moved by your plea for mercy. Mr. Zircon does not care.
And that's funny we're talking about this, because my next pick, the number 2 pick for me, is a Sony franchise, actually.
What is it?
Spyro the Dragon.
Well, unfortunately, that's not a Sony franchise. It's Activision. But go ahead.
Spyro, how low you have fallen.
Well, that's not true. I mean, if you play one of those Skylanders games with the Spyro character, it's actually pretty fun. Just don't switch to anyone else.
It's not the same.
No, it's not a Spyro game.
What happened? Like, you know what? I like the Heroes game, a Hero's Tale. Like, I forgot and Legend of Spyro. Like, contrary to most people, like those games were really fun. They were just
You mean the GameCube ones?
No, the Enter the Dragonfly is garbage. Like,
yeah, actually, I liked the ones on like Spyro was okay to me on the PS1, but I like the PS2/GameCube ones. I mean, I know they tried to go darker, but the thing about Spyro,
those are the ones I'm telling you, like the ones I love, the darker ones, like Hero's Tale and Legend of Spyro.
They were on the right track, but there were too many of the old school fans who were like, no, man, I want hardcore.
You know what? It's not even also. It is nostalgia fact, but it's mostly people cannot move on from Spyro not being from Sony. Like, let's be honest, people didn't give most of the Activision Crash games a chance. Like, Twin Insanity is an amazing game, and they didn't give it a chance because it's not made by Naughty Dog.
Yeah, that's kind of but I mean, let's keep it real. Naughty Dog isn't what they used to be. I mean, they don't make games like they used to, because I'm sorry, Uncharted is not doing it for me.
And I'll be completely honest. I don't care if I get haters for this. The Crash of the Titans and Mind Over Mutants were fun games. Yes, they were the normal Crash games we were accustomed to, but the mechanics were awesome, and it was fun to experiment with them.
You know, I have to agree with you. You're absolutely right. I actually liked those. I had those games on the Wii. I loved them. They were awesome games.
And
I don't know why. I don't know why people were all like, this isn't the Crash. Like Crash, like okay, how many times can you play a game where it's 2.5D and you're running towards something or you're running away from something? Like,
well, according to these idiots, like a lot because people are celebrating Crash's revival now. Voting next month, Crash will be revived by a HD remake of the original 3 games.
yeah, you know what? People are gonna get those games and be like, this is like, they're gonna be like, this is the same shit that we had before. Like, there's nothing new going on.
Actually, it is like I saw comparisons, and
It's the same stuff, just prettier
levels were
graphics.
basically left almost unchanged. Like,
Yeah, it's virtually the same game with. It's basically, you know what it feels like? It feels like someone. It's kind of like what Nintendo did with
oh,
Super Mario All Stars versus the original Super Mario Brothers games. You know, like a graphical upgrade, but it's the same game.
oh, but you want to hear something funny? There's some people bitching about the most minute changes on the originals. Like there was a level of the Cortez Power Plant level, where people are bitching that the lighting is different on the new version, and I was like, no shit. It has more. The console has more power now, so obviously it's going to look better.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was never a huge fan of those Spyro games. I like the ones that were like.
No, I'm talking about the Crash. Crash.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I wasn't a fan of those games on the PS1 because I felt they weren't that good. I know a lot of people were like, "I love these games." I was
It's
like,
mostly nostalgia. Like,
yeah, yeah. They never really did anything for me. But I do love Crash Bandicoot. I do like Crash Mind Over Mutant Crash of the Titans because they did something different that was vastly different from what we saw on the Crash games back in the day. And I'm a man who likes like here's the thing. I love pizza, but if I had to eat it every day for like 3 years, I would begin to hate it. And so, like I really, really, really like. I mean, although Crash Team Racing was fun, but now that
Crash, I'll be completely honest. Sony did something no one did. They actually make a decent comparator to Mario Kart at that time.
okay, here's what I'll say about Crash Team Racing. It was better than Mario Kart, but what it was really copying was Diddy Kong Racing, and Diddy Kong Racing was better.
Yeah, but
Diddy Kong Racing was better than Crash
you
Team.
saw the slew of bad Mario Kart knockoff during that time.
Oh yeah. If you didn't have an N64 or you didn't have a friend who had an N64 and Diddy Kong Racing, Crash Team Racing was a great substitute.
Like at least Sony, like because it took Sega until 8th gen to actually do an awesome Sonic racing experience.
Well, 7th gen because there was
Seventh gen,
Crash
yeah.
Team Racing, and then they get Crash Team Racing, Racing Transform, which I mean not Crash, Sonic Racing, and then Sonic Racing Transformed, which
Those games are awesome for me.
the second one's my favorite because it has Vise in it, and Vise is like one of my favorite characters. But you were gonna say your game, Dragon.
It's gonna be a little bit of repeat, but I haven't really seen another installment for I guess 7 years.
Years. Okay. So what's this game that's been in the wilderness for 7 years?
It's on the handheld Pokemon Rangers.
Oh yeah. I was never a huge fan of that, but I know a lot of people who love that game.
I'm not going to commentate.
Yeah, I know a lot of people didn't really like those games, but I mean, it was fun. The people who like it really enjoyed it.
But I do understand him because there's a Pokemon spin-off. I wanted to do a sequel of Pokemon Conquest, and so
You mean Pokemon Tactics?
Yeah, but we finally had a Fire Emblem-esque Pokemon game, and it was amazing.
I wouldn't say Fire Emblem. I would say more like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, but with Pokemon. Which I mean, hell, it is what it is. But it wasn't. I liked it. So I guess we'll get the third one since we spent a inordinate amount of time talking about Soul Calibur. Who wants to go for the third ones? And mine's gonna shock you guys, but I'm gonna go last. So it's between you and Dragon.
Me.
Okay, contrary.
I have so many ones but Jet Set Radio.
Oh yeah.
I used to adore that game scene. Well, I still do. Like the only two installments we ever got. Like I treasure those games and say it to my heart. And it is sad that those games are practically on limbo. Right. It is like I do. I feel like Skies of Arcadia fans feel that they're never going to get a sequel.
Yeah, we're never going to get a sequel to Skies of Arcadia,
So,
and it hurts my heart. It really does.
I was like seeing Sega as it is now. I'm like, I have to get used to the idea that Jet Set Radio was just a 2-game franchise and
I would
just
like to
trudge
see
along
another
with
one.
it.
I would like to see another one. Just because I have those games on PC and I love them. I play them. I mean, not all the time. I play them maybe once every 3 or 4 months, but I mean, they're really fun.
Yeah, I believe my dad bought it with. I got my first Dreamcast with Sonic Adventure 1 and Jet Set Radio. And because I think he came with those 2 games, my Dreamcast. But
That's good for you. When I got my Dreamcast, it came with because it wasn't a bundle. It like literally they were getting rid of them, and I paid like $50 for it. And it came with 3 games. It came with Power Stone 2. It came with Seaman, and it came with Skies of Arcadia. And
Skies of Arcadia is a legendary game for me.
yeah, Skies of Arcadia is great. I would tell anyone this if you really like the Dreamcast version of that game is great, but it has some flaws with like late game. The GameCube version is a little bit better just because they rebalanced a few things. But that game if you can get it on Dreamcast, it's great. If you can get it on GameCube, go for it. It's a great RPG. I have to say it's better than Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
That's not a high mark though. It's pretty good though.
Actually, now that we're talking about this, I didn't notice outside from Sony, from Sonic, like is like almost all of Sega IPs are buried underground. Streets of Rage hasn't seen the light of day. Nice was canned too. Skies of Arcadia, like Space Channel, like all the Sega franchises have literally died off.
Man, I just want a Golden Sun, but that's not the game I was talking about. So
No, Golden Sun will never see the light of day because how much hatred the DS title got and is flopped because it wasn't like the original. It didn't feel the same as the original, supposedly. I hate Gen 1ers and Nostalgia Fest with a passion. Believe me.
So I guess Dragon, you're next, and then we'll wrap things up.
The third game?
Yeah, third game.
I already said that. The second one was Soul Calibur, and the third one I just said was.
Oh
you said Pokemon Ranger. Yeah, we went off on a tangent, but we do that sometimes. Sorry.
Yeah. He said his 3 games because he said Pokemon Coliseum, Soul Calibur, and
Pokemon Rangers.
So it's up to you. You're the only one that has one left, Mr. Red Fox.
I guess I am the last one. So.
And I know what's going to be. I know who's going to be. So spell it out. Like I already know.
Actually, you don't, but I'm going to say it. The number one game that I want to see brought back that just Like, I love it. I want to see it come back. So my one game that I want to see come back is none other than Lufia. Lufia, the last game that we had that was in the Lufia franchise was Lufia and the Ruins of Lore on the Game Boy Advance, and that was a long time ago. Now, they did do a re-release of Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals on the DS, but it was ass, so like, it wasn't that good, and it didn't sell that well either. Now, the people who hold the rights to Lufia is Square Enix, because they bought the rights from somebody else who used to do that game. And I just want to see it brought back, because Lufia, the unique hook of Lufia is that it was an RPG. It had turn-based battles, but the cool thing was that when you went into dungeons, it turned into like almost like a cross between a roguelike game and The Legend of Zelda, where you have to solve environmental puzzles and use tools in order to get through the dungeon in order to move on.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool thing. Like, you'd basically, like in the first two games, you'd get tools in the dungeons like bombs and a hook shot and like a flint and tinder in order to start fires and stuff. And you would push boxes and use these tools and other things in order to solve puzzles. And you could see enemies in the dungeon, so like you'd have to sometimes you'd have to do something where it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to light this on fire and use it, like I'm gonna have to, like, there's a switch over there, I'm gonna have to trick the monster to step on the switch when I'm close to the door so that I can get through. Like, it was really I mean, and you combine that with a solid combat system, and then great music and an interesting story, and I would love to see it brought back. I would like to see it brought back. I mean, it's not a heavy duty, high expensive game, so I would like to see it put on handheld. I mean, it's 3DS, PC, maybe the Switch.
Actually, I have one question now. Now that you said something, wasn't Luffy a victim of the? I think I remember Square Enix tried to monopolize the RPG market, so it started buying small RPG making companies. Could it be that Luffy was victim to that?
Well, it was bought by. See, here's the problem. It was bought by. The problem is that it was bought by Square Enix, and Square Enix has so many IPs that they don't have the manpower to do these games. Like, they barely have the manpower to do Final Fantasy 15 and the little stuff they're doing now. Like, they have all these IPs. They have Ogre Battle. They have Lufia. They have some other IPs. ActRaiser. They have the Quintet games. I mean, they have all these games underneath. They have all these IPs. They don't have the manpower to do anything with them. So it's like, like, personally, if I was Square Enix, I would basically get indie studios in Japan. Like, okay, we're gonna let you work on this game. Give them a small budget. Like, don't just get Joe Blow off the street, but like someone who has a proven track record for making these little tiny games, and then basically say, make a 40, 50, 60-hour RPG. Here's a budget. Here's the IP. Make this game. Put it on the 3DS and the Vita, because the Vita does well in Japan and the 3DS does well everywhere. And boom, you have money coming in. Maybe do a 70-30 split with the return, so the studio gets 30%, Square Enix gets 70%. Boom, you got a game made. But they don't want to do that. They're weird like that.
So, but you gotta admit, like, Final Fantasy 15 has a lot of details. So, like, that budget was well spent.
No, it wasn't. It was blown 4 times. That's not a well spent budget. That's why Final Fantasy 15's in the trouble it's in right now.
I was being facetious.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I was like, what? No, like, basically Square Enix, because you have to remember, Square Enix had a brain drain. Like, their most talented people left Square Enix and went and formed their own studios, or they left. Like Hironobu Sakaguchi formed his own studio. The people who helped to make Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, the games that made Square Enix the RPG Squaresoft, the RPG powerhouse that they are now, those people are gone. The people who made Romancing Saga, gone. Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, gone. So basically, all the people who made the games that made them a lot of money, gave them a lot of critical reception that people love, don't work there anymore. And the people who are left, arguably, are making games that people don't like. I mean, sales-wise, like their sales have been going down, so people don't want to play those games made by those people. So,
Well,
I don't know.
Well, you gotta give them credit on something. At least they have Tetsuya Nomura.
Oh God. They got the guy who gave us those big ass shoes in those games and his fugly looking characters. But that's neither here nor there. We have a little bit of time. We have a little bit of time left. So if anyone wants to bring up any news of the week, we can tackle that and then wrap things up.
I think that was something I wanted to discuss with you, Mr. Red Fox. What was the first artist for Final Fantasy, the one that drew the characters, the first one?
Here, I'll Google it. First Final Fantasy
character designer.
Character artist, character designer. Yes. It was Yoshitaka Amano, and then he left and Nomura took his place, and went downhill from there.
When did he left? Like, what was his last game?
I don't know. Here, let me look it up. Yoshitaka Amano. Let me wiki it.
Because I'm curious who was the first Final Fantasy artist, like, because all I ever knew is...
Okay, let me put it this way, okay? He had been working on the system he had been working on Final Fantasy since 1980. He had been working since 1987, okay? Like, so basically, this dude, his last one was Final Fantasy VI. So there you go, folks. That's right. All the Final Fantasies, the ones that everyone says are the best Final Fantasies ever, he worked on. There you go, folks. That's why Final Fantasy went downhill.
Did you work on Final Fantasy IX? It's just a curiosity.
I don't know. Probably.
Because supposedly 9 was, the characters of 9 weren't drawn by Tetsuya Nomura.
Well, let me look it up. Gameography. Let's see. He was a, let's see, 9. No, he didn't work on 9. He worked on he did 8, he did 7, he didn't do 9. So thank God someone else did 9. I don't know who, but
no, I know Nomura didn't do 9 because supposedly, like, people were asking why the hell Square Enix is, like, out of the modern Final Fantasy is kind of biased against 9, and I heard an insider scoop that the only reason is because Tetsuya Nomura didn't make the characters for those games, so he doesn't want to, like, acknowledge them.
Oh, that's okay, because he's a shitty artist anyway.
How you notice the Final Fantasies that get the most representation now are like are Nomura's baby? 7,
well, it's
8,
7. It's 7.
7, 8, and 13 because they like to push lighting. They like to push lighting.
Not really 8 so much, but 7 and 13. Oh my God, they love 7 and 13.
No, especially lighting. Like, hell, one of the first DLC they announced for Explorers was a fucking lighting costume. I was like, whoa, Square likes to push lighting onto us like
No.
Way too much. Because
No, I'm sorry. Like I know what they were going for. Like Lightning is basically they were trying to go Lightning is a female Chrono from Chrono Trigger, but she isn't. She just no.
no, I always look at Lightning as a female Squall. It's like practically the same personality. Both had gun blades.
Really, for me, Lightning is more like she has a gunblade, but she has the sparkling personality of Cloud Strife.
Well, if you play, if you play 13, she's more of a douche.
That's
And
what I'm saying. But I mean, but that's the thing. She has no real personality. She just kind of, yeah, whatever.
I'm going to be honest. She acted like a bitch towards all the characters in the game, and all the characters never call, only Snow call on her shit, and I was like, whoa, either these characters like being treated like shit, or they just don't want to piss her off because
Well,
having.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, like, it's really hard. Like, Tetsuya Nomura has an issue making characters that have realistic interactions with each other. He can't really do it. He just, like, haven't you noticed that all the characters he designs have major issues, kind of?
Yeah, and most of them are really unlikable. Like Squall and Lightning are probably for me one of the most unlikable main characters like I ever played in an RPG.
Well, you know how it is. Me personally, like, I just don't like for me, Cloud Strife is annoying because he's abnormal as hell. Like, I don't mean abnormal, I mean abnormally powerful or abnormally, like you should aspire to be like him. I mean, he's just not a very well developed character.
For me, he's just too whiny. Cloud.
Squall Leonhardt is too much of a bitch. I'm sorry.
An asshole.
My memories. Oh my! Just the story of Final Fantasy VIII makes no goddamn sense.
Oh, thank God, somebody said that.
It makes no goddamn sense. The story is garbage.
I said, God, I understand. I can understand, like, I can understand a Harry Potter movie better than I can understand the fucking plot.
Yeah, but Harry Potter makes sense. Harry Potter follows.
Yeah, but you know the Harry Potter. You have to really dig in. When you first watch Harry Potter, you're going to get confused. Like you had to get accustomed to like all the terminology and all the lore behind it.
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, like I'll tell you a book series that you really have to learn, like know a lot of. You have to read the books in order to understand what's going on. The Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit, like they go deep in their lore with those damn, like Harry Potter. Like, I mean, even if you don't understand all the details, you still know what's going on. But you watch other stuff, you have no idea.
Oh, Jewel, you got really late to the party.
You got to the very tail end of the thing. So since you're the last one here, give us 3 games that are part of old, dead, tired, or ill-used franchises that you want to see brought back, and then we'll wrap things up.
This is what happens when movie night comes up, ladies and gentlemen.
What'd you go see?
Would you believe Guardians?
I would believe that. I was gonna watch it today, but something came up, and I was like, I gotta work. I got school stuff to do, plus business to run. So,
I'm going to see it tomorrow. Is the movie good? The Guardians.
If you enjoyed the first one, you're gonna try not to laugh your rear end off and whoop out on the second one.
Why?
It's that fun.
Yeah. Plus, it's got Kurt Russell in it, and Kurt Russell is awesome. Kurt Russell is life. Kurt Russell is love.
I'll ask what you got up to later, because if anything, you boys apparently had more fun than I did.
No, that's not entirely true. Actually, I haven't seen it yet.
At least in a sense.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. I'm gonna go to a matinee showing and watch it tomorrow. So,
well, to get to the point,
Yeah.
Rival schools united by fate.
Oh, goddamn. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm being serious on that.
Okay, cool.
Ro- the a true a true reboot of Rocket Rocket Adventures. I mean, you probably
Rocket Knight
get
Adventures.
yeah.
Yeah. That's Konami, but I mean, since they brought back Bomberman, they might do Rocket Knight.
The third one I'm a little iffy on, but um oh yeah it'll probably be the Yu-Gi-Oh car trading card franchise because come on, who the heck doesn't want to play a card game on either a handheld or on the console?
Oh
What, they haven't
yes,
done another of those? They haven't done another one of those for a long time.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and the only
Because
the new card games I have to scream about because they're import only.
I thought the last one that they localized was on the DS, if I remember correctly.
yeah, but
Yes,
I can
but
explain.
there's new card games that are on the 3DS that I clearly would want.
But I can explain actually because they're not making any more handheld game because they're focusing on mobile now. They're making more. They're
I'm
making
sorry,
mobile.
but that is a rip-off imitation of what the real game is.
Yeah, but they could totally make money off of it. Like here's the thing. Like they've been using the same engine for those games. Like if you look at the engine between the Game Boy Advance and the DS version of those games, it's the same damn engine. Like literally they've been using the same engine. All they have to do is go into the archives, dust that engine off, make another one, add the cards from the new series, and boom, you got another Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Look here. I have the app. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which is it is like you're playing the card game,
It's
but
shrunk down
on the
to a mini
phone.
fashion.
So and I bet like you have a certain amount of stamina that you can do so many duels a
Actually,
day, and
yes,
then
but
if
I was
you
about to
once it
say
goes
that it
down, you
also
get
shrinks the
microtransactions.
battlefield to three spells and monster cards,
Oh, that's
and that's
bullshit.
not
Sorry.
and
Yeah.
that's not including the field spells and
Let
I
me
think
guess. You can only have a hand
synchros.
of like 5 cards at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, we're done. I'm not.
Oh,
We're done.
and the maximum life points are
4,000.
4,000, nor not 8,000. So,
That's like trying to be the Yu-Gi-Oh episodes.
So if you have a monster that restores health or a magic spell that restores health, and you can't go above 4,000, you just got to hold on to that card.
SOL.
Yeah, you're shit luck. JWF. Konami, get on that. I mean, I have a little bit more faith in Konami since they brought back Bomberman. So, Konami, get your shit together. So, anyone have anything else they want to mention before we wrap things up? Since we're at the end of our podcast.
I'm sorry about being late, by the way.
Nah, look. We do this stuff for fun. This isn't like a job or
I know, but if
school or
anything,
anything.
I would have enjoyed hearing what you guys had to say.
Well, I mean, this is an hour-long episode. You can always go back and watch it later on if you really want to. So we've reached the end of our podcast. Anyone else have anything they want to bring up before we wrap things up?
I did a BL1 Beyond Level 1 review of if any would you believe Team Kirby Clash Deluxe.
Ooh, that's a good game. Dragon.
You guys talked about the new 2DS XL last week?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did talk about it. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, like, I'm not gonna get one because I have a 3DS. So what's the point? But yeah, I have a new 3DS. Why would I downgrade myself like that? But hey,
I was about to say I still got a 3DS that's working still, and I don't need to replace it yet.
yeah, for me, like I always have multiple Nintendo handhelds. So like I had an OG 3DS, and then I had like a 3DS XL Mario and Luigi edition, and like Dream Team edition. And I was like, I think on my old OG 3DS, like one of the the left triggers was acting a little was dead. So I traded that in and paid $50 and got my new 3DS XL, and it was that's a fair trade. So.
Mr. Ref, okay, I asked a question before the podcast, and why did Mortal Kombat got rebooted in the first place? Like,
Well, because they made a lot of games that made fans of this franchise angry, so they rebooted it and went back to stage one. Like basically, they did like Deadly Alliance, and they killed off Liu Kang. They did Dark Betrayal. Like they did all of these weird pseudo 0.5 3D games that just kind of pissed people off. So they basically just said, well, we're going to reboot everything, and they went back to zero. And if Street Fighter doesn't get their shit together, they're going to have to do the same thing. They're going to call it Street Fighter Zero.
So supposedly, I think that they fucked the story a little too much.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I just know that the games just, not even stories-wise, the games were just kind of convoluted, and it kind of it was just a little too much. So they just said, we're going to wipe the slate clean and go back to basics.
But that just raises one question: why are they bringing characters from the 3D games like into the reboots?
Shujinko, and because some people like those characters. I mean, it's kind of like this. Like when they do a new Street Fighter, like really, like most hardcore fans of Street Fighter, like they like the Street Fighter 2 characters because that's who they started with. Your Ryu, your Ken, your Dalzium, your Sagat, your Vega, your TJ, your DJ, your I forgot the dude's name. Cammy, Chief, T-Hawk. Guile, because I mean, here's the thing: Guile's not even that great of a character, but his theme music is so badass. M. Bison, Zangief.
There's so many characters that came from that one game series.
Yeah, so I mean,
part of the game series that were famous.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are like the core characters. So,
and then you have those SNK level bosses.
Yeah, but I mean. Yeah, people like those characters, but then they come out with new characters that like some people have those favorites, and like they can only have a certain amount of characters in the roster when it comes out, and they drop some characters, they add other characters, and people want to play as their favorite character. Like Street Fighter V doesn't have Sagat. A lot of people like playing as Sagat.
Actually, I've been reading here, and actually, it may be a reboot, but Mortal Kombat X brought back like a lot of characters from the 3D era.
Well, yeah, I mean, because they changed, like basically it reboot the thing and it messed with they basically go back in time and change the tournament, the timeline. They can bring certain characters in because it's messing with dimensions and time and all that shit. So. Yeah, I mean,
you want to see the funny thing that Liu Kang became evil on the new timeline.
Well, yeah, because he had to. The whole point of Mortal Kombat 9 is that Raiden realizes that Liu Kang has to lose because it has to lose that tournament. Like, because canonically, Liu Kang wins in the third Out Realm versus Earth Realm tournament. However, because Raiden makes it so that he loses, it makes it so that when Shao Kahn does the dirty deed in order to get around the rules later on, it's illegal, and Out Realm is punished. So, but Liu Kang doesn't like the fact that he's been made to throw a fight or be handicapped or however he lost. But so
I was about
he
to
turns
say
kind of
held
mad.
back to fight. I say he's gotten held back in order to do what he was supposed to do, and thus screwing over history.
Yeah, he's a little.
Everybody knows
pissed. Yeah.
you screw up with history, stuff is going to F you over in history.
Yeah. He got a little pissed. I mean, fair enough. But then again, I mean, one of the canonical ending of Mortal Kombat 10 is that Raiden turns evil, and he's now he's basically like the Shao Kahn of Earth, and he's evil. Like he's like, if anyone else comes after Earth, I will fuck them up so bad. And he's like, if you don't think I'm serious, here's Shinnok's head.
Then he said, remember, they are fates worse than death.
Well, I'm not gonna go verbatim what he says, but basically,
I was like, don't fuck with this Raiden.
But basically, what I'm saying is that the god of thunder, the god of lightning, is not fucking around. But that's enough. Let's wrap things up. Everyone give their sign offs, and then we'll put it into it.
This is the Gaming Mage, Joe Radio Light Moonstar, signing off for all you boys.
Okay, Contrarian, you go next.
Well, this is Bowser's little boy signing off.
All right, Dragon, you're last.
I think the dragon is AOL.
He could be AWOL, or he could be on America Online. Who knows? So I guess I'm the last one, and I only have one thing to say, folks. If you have expired orange juice in your fridge, throw it out. Peace.
Laters.